Oh, what is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am the Owl, and this is another edition of my live. And today we are going back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We are back continuing to talk about these MCU Disney Plus shows. And today we'll be talking about She Hulk Attorney at Law. Before we begin, I just want to remind you guys, if you enjoy what you see here and you want to see more, I encourage you guys to please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell while you're at it. I'm on the road to 500 subscribers, so let's get to it. But yes, I'm looking forward to getting into this. But I'm actually for once I'm not alone. I'm actually joined today with Bianca. First time on the channel. How you doing, Bianca?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I did put an invite out there to other people. We'll see who decides to come in. But yay, I'm glad you're actually on time.
Well, I worked in the morning, so I'm on time. I thought Tony was gonna be here, but apparently he's doing his own stream
Oh,
at this
okay.
time,
Okay. Traitor. No, just
right?
that's all good. Support support TW, he has his own thing. He has some good content on there as well. See who's in the chat right now. It's just Daryl. How you doing? So, what do you think of the final episode? Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to all the nooks and crannies and details of this show. Before we begin, as always, we got to remind you that this is spoiler filled. The season finale was a couple days ago. The show wrapped up. So, if you guys have not seen She Hulk, I encourage you guys to go watch it on Disney Plus and then come back and listen to this later. Check out the replay if you don't want anything spoiled. So, you have been warned. Okay, so as you guys know, with my history with the MCU shows, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not. I know a lot of people like the Disney Plus Marvel shows, and that's great. I'm glad you enjoy them. Keep enjoying them. But for me, for the most part, I haven't liked a lot of them. Um, the only ones I've liked up to this point is What If, and most recently Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel I actually enjoyed quite a bit. Still had its issues, both of those shows, but for the most part, I enjoyed those. And I know, what about WandaVision? What about Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna go through this whole spill. Yes, okay, yeah, I know there's fans of those shows, but for me, like, those shows just felt so uneven to me as far as the plot and the character development. Like, I'd never go back to watch those again. I'm just gonna be completely honest. Um, but as I said, when I watched Miss Marvel, it gave me a slight bit of hope that we'll be in a better direction with the shows. Slightly better. Seemed like a step in the right direction. However, I will say going into this with She-Hulk, my expectations were very low to the ground. Because because if y'all remember the marketing for this show, it was not good. It was not good.
I enjoyed
Ex-
it. I thought it was done very well.
you thought the marketing was good?
Yeah, got me to watch it.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, I was gonna watch this regardless because I'm already sucked into the MCU as it is, so I got to watch everything. But like, yeah, this one to me, like, at least in my opinion, it felt the most messy when it came to the marketing. Honestly, I felt this probably will be the lowest point of the shows so far. And you guys know how much I really disliked Hawkeye. I thought that was probably the worst show they put out. But like this seemed
Wow.
like yeah, that one just made me angry. Like, if you guys can go back and watch that stream and see my thoughts if you want to. But like, I don't know, man. It's just the jokes weren't landing and it just felt like totally it felt all over the place. And it's like you guys, and it's like when it comes to humor in the MCU, I don't hate humor in the MCU. I just want to make that clear. I
It's
do enjoy.
oversaturated.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And it's just like I'm worried with She-Hulk that it would be too much. You know, and it's like if you guys know, like the comics of She-Hulk, pretty much like Deadpool, she breaks the fourth wall and stuff like that.
Depends on the
So
run as well.
right, right, right. But it's just like I don't know. I'm hoping it wouldn't be a complete train wreck. And of course, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the motion capture for She-Hulk. There was a lot of uncanny valley there when I saw it in the trailer. I'm like, oh man, this is not gonna work. Like how did they approve this? Like, okay, I know, I know that the budget for these shows are not gonna be as big as the movies. I understand that. But it's just like I think they could have just took a little bit more time to touch up on the CGI because it's just like I don't know. It just felt off. I don't know. So I
The
had a
budget was
lot of
really
doubts.
bad for this show. It was really, really low.
Like how? How is that? This is Hulk. Like this is a Hulk related thing, and you're going to go. You just oh my god. I just didn't understand that. But as
I
I
don't.
said,
I think it's because we don't. We think Disney slash Marvel slash Lucasfilm slash et cetera slash Pixar is this like great thing, but in actuality, like they have money budget problems too.
that's shocking to hear because it's Disney, billion-dollar corporation, the pioneers of storytelling and animation. They're having budget issues, which I guess another thing that worried me about these shows is like them putting out too many products at the same time, and it's like they're not able to get a handle on the quality as much as they did previously when they didn't have that much. So it's like one of the things I'm worried about is this, Marvel being stretched too thin at this point, having to put out so many shows and so many movies. It
Which
feels like
definitely
quantity.
hurts.
Yeah, it definitely feels like quantity over quality. But anyway, I'm crossing my fingers with the show and hoping for the best. That's the best I can do. But as I said, Miss Marvel, I liked. So maybe they'll start to get their act together a little bit. I don't know. So, sat down and watched this. Uh, I'm kind of conflicted with this show. I'm very conflicted. I can't, in good conscience, say that overall, after watching the entire season, after just seeing the finale, I can't, in good conscience, say that this is a good show. But I had a good time with it. I liked it. I enjoyed myself. Um, I it feels like with this they wanted to take risks, but they still felt like they were shackled quite a bit. Um, what I liked about it was that it did feel I did like sorry guys, it's just, I'm having this show just confused me because like I liked the direction and tone that they were going for. You know, the fourth wall breaking, the comedic tone. You know, for the most part, that actually was working for me. And I really enjoyed Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk. I thought she was great, but it just felt like they were playing it really safe at the same time. Like it felt like there wasn't too much going on plot wise. And I felt like they could have done more. Like honestly, like yeah, it went silly. It went crazy at parts, but part of me feels like they could have took it more extreme, you know? They could have I don't know. They could have just took a little bit more risk with this show. That's probably my the one thing that really frustrates me. It almost felt like they didn't really know what to do with She-Hulk as a character. And it felt like there was quite a few moments that she was meandering, didn't have a lot to do. But when the highs when they're good when the good parts happen, they're really really good. I like the world building that they do in the show. I like and some of the things that frustrated me from previous movies and shows, with them putting in your face Easter eggs and cameos and stuff like that, it actually worked in this show. Because of the meta nature of the show and how she talks to the audience and stuff like that. Like that type of stuff I really liked. And when she actually is She-Hulk, I think it's really cool. But I wish there was more of it. I wish there was more of a
With the
balance.
budget they had, not possible.
And that's what I mean. Where it just felt like it felt like they were held back. It felt like they couldn't
Oh,
go
they
as
were
far as they
definitely
could.
held back. In the beginning, it was supposed to be 100% John Burns run, where she's constantly breaking the fourth wall all the time. But they said it was too much. Like they're gonna add editor boxes and all that stuff, make it look comic booky. But they're like, well, first of all, the wall breaking is too much. We don't have enough budget to do all of this, so she's gonna mostly have to talk as Jen. And instead of just John Burns' run, we're gonna have to add all the other runs where they try to add some sort of seriousness and not as much comedy in it.
Yeah. And that just frustrates me because it's like I feel for the longest time that when it comes to the Hulk property as a whole, it feels like they're getting the short end of the stick. Ever
Mm.
since, yeah, ever since Infinity War, it just felt like they just don't give a crap about Hulk. They don't.
I love
It's
Infinity War, except what happens to Hulk. Of course, nobody likes what happens to Hulk.
Yeah, no one does. And it's just like, I enjoy Infinity War and Endgame. It has its fun moments, but I feel like there's certain things that don't hold up as well. Maybe I could talk about that in a future video. But like now I'm looking at She-Hulk and it's like the potential that this character and this property could have had on the MCU. This could have been one of the most popular characters in the MCU. I wholeheartedly believe that because she's so unique from the other characters. She has something about her that the other characters don't have. That whole thing of like her being self-aware,
Being a
bringing the fourth.
feminazi. Never mind.
Yeah, let me. Okay, and that's another thing I want to talk about with everyone thinking that it's woke and like it's like, it's all about the women and overpowering the men. It's like, yeah, they address some like feministic stuff in the show, but I wasn't offended by it personally because they still keep Jen a likable character, and a relatable character. She's not perfect. She's not a Mary Sue. She actually gets herself into trouble many times.
It's
You
so weird
know,
because in the comics, John Burns comics specifically, she's technically is a Mary Sue if she can look at a villain and say, "What the crap is this?" Rip off the page, scrunch it up, and throw it in the trash and say, "Hey, give me better villains."
right? Which is actually something they kind of do in the finale, which we'll get to later. But like they could
Very
have
true.
easily have right. No, but that's you're good. But it's like yeah, they could have easily have done that and been like, whatever villain that she faces, she could have easily just been like, okay, she just stop the show. Wait, this guy sucks. Erase him, whatever. They could have easily done that stuff, but no, they knew not to take it too far with that stuff. Because I'm over here like, I wish she did it a little bit more. This could have been the Deadpool of the MCU, but it's like all it feels like it's just a shadow of what Deadpool is, and I'm guessing I'm sure they were thinking in the back of their minds, we're about to get Deadpool in the MCU, so we don't want her to upstage him too much. But I'm like, no, do your thing. Let her go crazy. Like, cause she could have been
I
even
doubt
more
that's
powerful.
what Jessica Gao was thinking since she's a huge She-Hulk fan.
I
I
know.
think it's just really just comes to freaking money. Oh, I think it would have been better if of instead of like 30-minute, like 20 to 30-minute episodes each of, like a majority of it being Jen and then some of it being CGI. They could have done like something like shorts instead, like up to 5 minutes of her and shenanigans. Get a brief summary, comedy throughout. Boom, you're done. You already know the character, you love the character, you find out what she's about, and you're good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. My only thing with that is like, you know, I because I would want to see her in like movies as well,
I think
and I'm
she is
just
confirmed to be in them.
I hope so, because I just want her character to go over enough to where people do want to see her in movies, and it's just like that's another thing you touched on. I personally felt like the episodes, even though like if this is so weird for me to say because up until this point, like I felt like the runtime of these shows are way too long. But this is one of the moments where I wish that the episodes were a little bit longer. Maybe that was their intention
Same.
to make us want more every week. It's actually this is one of the things I appreciate about this show that it actually feels like it's an episodic format instead of them trying trying to. It feels like them taking a 4 hour movie and turn that into a show, but like or 4 to 6 hour movie, however long these episodes are. Like it didn't just feel like that. It actually felt episodic, so that's something I appreciated. But it's just like as soon as something starts to get good in the episode, it's already over. I'm like, wait, what? We just got into the meat of the stuff and it's already done. I'm like, oh man. Um, but yeah, I had a good time with the show. I actually had fun. There was quite a few times that I laughed, you know. So overall, I do enjoy the show, but it's like at the same time, it just felt like there wasn't enough substance with this. I wanted to go a little bit more crazier. That is how I feel. But what were your overall thoughts on She-Hulk, Bianca? I've been talking a lot.
Mm. um, After finding a long time ago
Oh, hold on, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
into this ever since it was announced in like the people writing the episodes,
Hold on, Bianca,
etc.,
Bianca, Bianca, Bianca,
because of
Bianca,
how much of a fan
Bianca.
I am.
Hey, Bianca, can you start over again because you broke up in the beginning?
No,
Yeah, I'm
that's my
sorry. It's
bad.
like
I'm sorry.
you're good.
My
Yeah,
mic
start
fell.
over. No, you're good. Go ahead, start over.
So I've been into the whole news since like 2019. So I
Mhm.
mostly just researched as much as I could with Jessica Gao, what they're doing, the writers as well, since there's like I believe like 6 different writers on this show.
Okay.
Uh and yeah, that's one of the things where I think it just falls apart. The first 2 episodes are in by Jessica Gao, and I'm like, okay, these are good. And then I watched the third episode. I'm like, okay, I can tell from the third episode, the first 2 episodes were in kind of eh. The fifth episode was Dana Schwartz, who was very controversial on Twitter. And then I believe the seventh and eighth episodes are written by 2 different comic book writers. And I'm like, okay, I can actually tell these are good episodes because I feel like they are written with experience, which was, I feel like that was the big thing. Like, I'm not feeling experience in writing as much. And I heard, like, when I look some of these people up, they're like, I wrote a blog, or they have little to no credentials in writing. And I'm just like, okay, I can. This is obviously the reason why it falls freaking flat. Next time, hire more experienced writers. I understand you want to get like 4 females, 2 males, blah blah blah, but just it just needs to be better written. The 2 comic book writers are the guys, and I'm like have them write more. If you want, bring Charles Soule. If you want it to be more of a legal drama, because Charles Soule, his run of She-Hulk was my very first run, and not only that, but he can actually write a good lawyer story because he is a lawyer. I did hear that he is enjoying the show. Oh, my food's
Hmm.
here. Um, but overall, it was mostly like the first 2 episodes were like a 6.5. The rest of the episodes were like a 6.57. And so, like, my review would just be like a 7 just throughout. Like, it's decent, but it can definitely improve, whether in comedy, in writing in general, and maybe instead of like just spouting some things that are like sound feminist and all that stuff, it can be actually be a theme, because even though she's been written by guys mostly, stuff does happen to her in the comics that can be brought out. She has been raped before. She has dealt with sexist lawyers before. She has dealt with being compared to the Hulk nonstop, that it annoys her. And then I'm like, oh, I would love to see more of this. The last episode was actually what I was hoping. It went completely as I thought it would, and that made me appreciate it, because I'm like, okay, this is a full 100% John Byrne. I believe, I don't remember if it was the last issue. um she's trying to go over ideas and all that stuff. John Byrne gives her like a script, and she's like, nah, I hate this, and she throws him out of the window, and then he becomes like goo and kind of like dies, I guess. And so I'm like, okay, so this is kind of like the Kevin thing, except Kevin doesn't die, and I didn't know Kevin had a hat. But her like restarting everything, deleting some stuff, I'm like, okay, this is her. Less comic booky because it's a TV show, but this is her. One thing I did like is, I don't know if she was taking a shot at like WandaVision or any other MCU show slash movie, but she was like, no, how about we have every single person take accountability for their actions? And she was just naming everybody like one by one, and I'm like, is this a poke at a WandaVision where everybody was angry because she didn't they I guess something happened when they were writing the last episode, and they kind of changed it on the spot to where Wanda's the hero despite of what she did. I'm saying this as a person who has not watched WandaVision yet. And I'm like, okay, so the people that actually like criticized that WandaVision last episode were like, okay, I actually appreciate this last episode of She-Hulk, but I still don't like it. And I'm like, hey, that's okay. So
Yeah,
it's decent, could be better in writing. I would want to have more experienced writers on this show if there is a season 2.
that's the thing. If there's a season two,
If
um, you're right. But with like I think with the one thing with Marvel, regardless of how something goes over, they'll still continue with the characters somehow. Because Eternals, not a lot of people liked, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna see them again. Um, so I have no doubt we'll probably see her again. I hope. But but yeah, that thing you were talking about with WandaVision stuff like that. As someone who has seen it, yeah, the last episode did seem kind of just slapped together like that. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense because I didn't even know about that stuff about them changing the thing at the last minute. That makes a lot of sense. I'm like, oh boy, but dang, that's it's the thing. Like my rule of thumb when it comes to writers, if there's more than 2 or 3 writers on a project, something is wrong. Something is concerning, even if it's a show, because like it's just too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's like
exactly.
I felt that. I felt that. And it's very similar to how I felt with, with Miss Marvel. The first 2 or 3 episodes I felt were the strongest. It like they actually felt like, there was a vision there. It was the most coherent. It was the most interesting to watch. I forget the directors' names.
They're the ones who did
But
Endgame, yeah?
they're the ones. They were the ones that did Bad Boys 3, and they were going to do, and they directed the Batgirl movie that doesn't exist anymore.
I heard they did Endgame too. No,
No,
wait. I
uh,
might be thinking about somebody else.
no, that's the No, that's the Russo brothers.
Oh, you're talking about
No,
directing, not writing.
I mean, okay. Actually, I don't know who were the writer. I thought that they wrote a little bit of it. I'm not sure. They definitely direct the episodes, but it's just as far as writing, as far as direction, the first 3 episodes I thought were spot on, and then as we go on, it starts to go up and down, up and down. It's like wait, where's the consistency here? And it's like
Yeah.
I feel it again with She-Hulk.
I
But
still rated
like
Miss Marvel higher.
no, I agree. I agree. To me, Miss Marvel's probably the best live action show still that they have. Um, but yeah, I think probably this is maybe probably the third favorite. And keep in mind, when I say third, like it's not really high bar because all the other shows are like low. So it's like as far as enjoyment, it's what if Miss Marvel, She Hulk, I guess, which
Oh, that'd be
not.
that'd be different for me because I still have not seen every single MCU show. The ones I've seen are She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Moon Knight. So I was like, okay, so Miss Marvel's first, She-Hulk second because of bias probably, and then third is Moon Knight. I remember loving Moon Knight, and then I watched Miss Marvel, and I'm like, oh, I'm seeing better writing.
Oh yeah, Moon Knight. Oh my gosh, I was disappointed with that. But okay, since we can skip around because like that's how random the show made us feel. We can skip around and talk about it. What did you think about Kevin? I thought it was okay. I thought it was cool. The whole thing with her like breaking into the Disney Plus menu and stuff like that. I thought, oh, that was really cool. And then she transports into the actual Marvel Studios and goes to the writers' room. I know there's a lot of people that like don't dig the meta stuff going on, because like this is the same stuff that
I
turned
think
people
it's
off.
because they just keep thinking it's a copy of Deadpool, and I'm just like, she was first anyway, so
That's the
sorry.
thing, but no, you're good. But that's the thing, it's like nowadays when it comes to the casuals and the general moving going audience, since they don't do research like we do, it doesn't matter who came first in the comic books. It matters which one got on screen first. And unfortunately, Deadpool was the one that got on first, so everyone's going to be comparing Deadpool to them. It would if they do anything similar to what he does, which is very unfortunate. Which is another thing of why another example is in the upcoming Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Namor is the king of Atlantis, but they decided to change it to Talokan because Aquaman came out with Atlantis first, and technically Namor, Namor was out before Aquaman. But as I said, it doesn't matter what came out in the comics first. It matters what gets on the big screen first. It sucks that it's like that,
Mhm.
but that's how it is, unfortunately. But like the last episode when she goes to the goes to the Marvel Studios and talks to the Kevin robot, I actually thought was really clever. I enjoyed that. Um, that's the type of weird stuff that I want to see from She-Hulk. But once again, it goes back to the issue of it's it it doesn't fully come together because yeah, she acknowledges the problems with the plot, and yeah, she goes out of her way to like erase all the stuff that's bad about it. But after that, we still don't see them do a better climax. They just skip to everything being resolved and the show is over. Like this is the type of stuff that turned people off with the Matrix Resurrections. You know, if and it's like this is the type of stuff where it's like I understand why people aren't always a fan of meta and self-aware stuff like Yield Nerdcast here. It's like generally not a fan of meta self-referential comedy, but it's like if you're going to do self if you're going to do self-referential comedy, if you're going to poke fun at like how bad the writing is, you have to make it better after that. It doesn't make it good all of a sudden that you acknowledge how bad the writing is. You have to make it better. That's how that stuff works. And that episode, that's what really frustrated me about that. Like, it's cool. She broke the fourth wall. She went into the Disney Plus menu. She went to the Marvel Studios lot. She talked to Kevin about all the other movies and stuff like that, and her possibly being on the big screen and all the other stuff. That's cool, but we still need a we still need a resolution. We still need satisfying closure, and I didn't get that. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it felt like half-assed. It felt half-assed. They're doing it for the sake because they can, you know. But yeah, you already lightly touched on it. Like anything else you wanted to add about that? Did you overall like what they were doing, or you felt like unsatisfied with that?
I like what they were doing. I just wanted improvements on it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
I wanted more thought, more progression. Uh, I wanted it to feel whole, but it just felt like some things were missing here and there.
Yeah, yeah, and and it's another thing of like, um, I felt like these episodes could have been longer. If you did want to, if like the one episode that I felt that could have been longer at the very least was that finale. That could have been like at least 40-45 minutes.
45.
You know, something, yeah, just to give us a more satisfying climax after that because there is no climax. She literally cuts it and then ending. Everyone's together at the end. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay, hold on. Yield Nerdcast says so. I think the point is that the resolution didn't matter because it was all derivative anyway. It was always going to end with a nice bow wrapped up on the story. It's why they always have a third act issue. Yeah, I agree with that, but it's like I felt like they could have done a little bit more because let's be honest. Let's be honest. The villains of this show, they suck. I'm not gonna. There's no ifs ands or buts about it. They suck. Uh, Todd, is that his name? Tom, whatever his name is. He's
Yeah.
he's King, the hacker. He's the one behind getting She-Hulk's blood. That's it. Like, okay, I know everyone was speculating that maybe this could lead to the leader possibly getting her blood, and we possibly get a sneak peek of him before we see him full out in Captain America: New World Order. Which I knew going into it we probably weren't going to get that. That was probably wishful thinking. But after what we got, I kind of wish they did tease the leader a little bit more, cause this guy he ain't doing it for me, bruh. I half the time I forgot he was in the show. Like he has no presence whatsoever, and the time he is on screen, he's annoying. And then also another missed opportunity with the villain, Titania. Like what was that? I mean, a little bit better than Todd, but that's comparing shit to a booger. Um, but missed opportunity with her as well because like you actually had someone that is almost at the same physical strength as She-Hulk, and she's treated as a joke. You know, she could have been built up
Oh no, she's
as
nowhere near as strong as She-Hulk in the comics. She gets her butt kicked. That's the whole joke in the comics.
oh, okay, so that's how it is in the comics. Okay, well, all right, I
Mhm.
get that, but
The
it's
whole
just
thing is
like,
that she is actually
sorry, go ahead.
I interrupted you, sorry.
Oh no, oh no, 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 no. I wasn't gonna say it. Go ahead.
Oh, so like there was an episode in the wedding where she was why are you so obsessed with me? She's like, I'm not obsessed with you, but that's actually how it is. She is obsessed with her due to jealousy. It's kind of funny to me.
I mean, yeah, that type of stuff I thought was funny. And yeah, I did like the one episode where it's like she was taking the rights to She-Hulk's name for her her what was it, perfume or something like that. Like I liked all of that
Yeah,
and
her
like
products.
products or whatever. Uh, but yeah, I did like that rivalry with her and She-Hulk. I thought that was really good. But as but I think they could have done more to actually make her like the main antagonist of the show. Okay, she doesn't necessarily have to be like on the same level physically or as powerful as She-Hulk, but she was literally the only person other than Abomination that possibly could have picked a fight with She-Hulk, actually get into a physical confrontation with her. So it's like I wish they just played that up a little bit more instead of just her being the 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 back end of a joke, because there's not really a strong villain in this show. And she could have been it, she could have been the foil for her, you know. Um, so I mean, yeah, I get that she, I guess she's supposed to be the joke, the back end of a joke in the comics, but it's like, whatever. The comics, the movies, the movies. They could have done something a little bit more interesting with her. So that's one thing I had a problem with. And then,
Agreed.
yeah, but yeah, going back to Tatiana Bislani overall, I thought she was fantastic. She was absolutely great. She was so fun to watch. She has such personality. Um, and it's like, icing on the cake. Her fourth wall breaking and stuff like that. She's very witty. She had very good comedic timing. I think this is the first time I've seen her in anything. It's this show. I'm sure
Really?
she's been in other. Yeah, I don't remember seeing her in anything else. Is there anything else I should know that she was in? I don't know.
I think the most famous one that I also haven't seen yet was Orphan Black, where I believe she plays a person with uh identity disorder and plays multiple different personalities. For me, what I've seen was actually when she was younger. She was in a werewolf movie called Ginger Snaps. There was a sequel on it. I didn't recognize her because not only was she younger, but she was blonde and had longer hair. And I was like, dang, this is how you acted as a child? This is some superb acting. Like, you kind of scare me.
I kind of see why she got the role. Um, but yeah, she definitely, even though the show is doing her, it feels like the show's doing its best to hold her back. Like she still carries this entire show, even when she doesn't have that much to do. I'm engaged with her the most. And it's like that's probably the biggest thing about this. Like I wish they gave her more to do because she can do it. You know, whatever they want to give her writing wise, she will make it work. You know? So it's just like it felt like the supporting characters were getting a little bit more to do than the actual main character of the show. So, but I thought she was great as, as herself as Jen and as She-Hulk. And I'll say the in the beginning, the uncanny valley was still slightly there, but as the show went on, it got better and better for me. Um, I really liked her She-Hulk as well. Um, I thought it was great. And then what I really liked about her character is her being the reluctant hero. She has, she
Yes, which
just
people have said that it's never happened, and I'm like, this has happened in her very first appearance. First chapter written by Stan Lee, Savage She-Hulk from the early '80s. She did not want to become a Hulk. She wanted to get rid of it. I'm sorry.
so very no, you're good. That's you're absolutely right. Very similar to her cousin. But in other ways, she's very different. She didn't feel like a complete, she didn't feel like a complete copy of Bruce, which is what I really appreciated. She felt like her own character, even though she is a derivative character, but she has her own personality and stuff like that. And okay, so someone that knows her from the comics, um, apparently people were bothered with how she got the Hulk blood in her system. Were you okay with how they did it?
Mhm. I was completely okay. I'm glad they also referenced it, but they
Mhm.
said that the reason they didn't add the whole mobster thing was because they didn't want to bring into light or talk about the whole mobster thing. I don't know if it was because they were uncomfortable with doing it or it's something else, but they're like, yeah, no, we don't want to like talk about that kind of stuff, so it ended up just being a reference. I remember so she was actually in her very first run, she was actually very similar to how Hulk acts when he's in Hulk form, kind of. Like, that was one of the biggest reasons why people didn't like that first run. They're like, oh, it's too similar to Hulk, and it got canceled after like 25 issues. And reading the entirety of it, I'm like, I can see why this was canceled. This was so freaking boring. But I still like a couple chapters from the 25 issues. The biggest thing for her was like her anger issues, which is
Mhm.
why, like, in her first like volume, whatever, like, she would constantly turn into She-Hulk due to it. uh and then, so, like, there was a whole mobster thing. She was trying to get one to confess, and then there was a bunch of people, like a couple people, who were like, okay, we got to take her out. Bruce, out of nowhere, was like, hey, I'm in trouble, can I stay with you for like a couple of days? And she's like, yeah, of course, you're my cousin. They see her, they shoot her in the spine. He, like, grabs her, takes her to the house, gives her some of her blood, waits a little bit, then takes her to the hospital. He gets recognized, he turns to Hulk, breaks through the building, and then we never see him again.
Oh, well, I see why they changed it. That would have been very controversial if they stuck exactly to the comics. I see a lot of questionable things from that. Um,
And I was
but yeah,
telling people, like, I don't think they can do that nowadays. Not only that, but Hulk has a reoccurring appearance. Even so, like, I'm good with this.
yeah. Yeah, with Disney and Marvel, they're not gonna go too dark with stuff or go too controversial. So at least I felt with this version, they still kept the spirit you know, of what She-Hulk did at least. Um, Now, okay, so another thing that people were complaining about with this show is, oh my God, She-Hulk's a whore. Oh my God, why is she sleeping around with so many guys? Really now?
I found
She,
that confusing.
yeah, um,
You triggered my trap card!
she's a whore, huh? Okay, well, watch a whore, huh? Well, it's not like she did that at all in the comics. No, not one at
That's
all.
my favorite ship, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh, I
she's
forgot the
definitely
store films
classy
happened.
woman. Yeah, so classy. Gotta love it. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's the comic when
was
she was raped.
yeah. And that's Juggernaut, by the way.
Yeah, that was
So
they retconned that in that dance slot run, and I'm like, ah, that was good. They're like, no, we can't have her be with a villain, so we'll retcon it. Have Wolverine sloppy seconds, and she's like, I didn't sleep with Juggernaut, and I'm like, oh, there's the retcon.
I was like, oh really, really now, really. But I what I kind of liked about the show was that they were kind of addressing that, like, She-Hulk should have a little bit more dignity about herself, just a little bit. Because that's the one thing
I
that
saw
even
so many
bothered me.
people saying that, especially women. They're like, have some self dignity, have some self respect. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's consensual. Like she's only had as Jen like two partners, and one has She Hulk. Ooh, that's so big.
But yeah, I mean, I I don't know. Even that stuff from the comics was kind of like I felt like, okay, that's a little much, She-Hulk. Um, but
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
do agree. Which is why the other runs are Charles Soleil run doesn't really focus on that. Dan
yeah,
Slott kind of met the one that focuses on the most would be the John Byrne one. I mean, there was a muscly guy, and she's like grabbing his hand to massage her body, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah. At least, yeah, this version they toned it down a lot, and as you said, it was consensual. Um, and what I kind of liked about this was her, dealing with the duality of being her and and then being She-Hulk, where more people were more interested in her as She-Hulk than she is as Jen. So that was another like point of contention for a character that I actually kind of liked. And she eventually goes through an arc where she learns to appreciate both sides, and finds a way for them to both be useful to help people, as Matt Murdock said in the uh, second to last episode. Jen Walters could help, when with the law stuff, and then She-Hulk could help when the law fails. So that type of stuff I did like.
Oh, I
I
love
guess
that so much.
yeah, I
I
know.
did find it weird. I was talking to somebody, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's a slut," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, you told me you were a She-Hulk fan," and they're like, "Yeah, I've been reading her for like 40 years," and I was like, "So what's the problem? I don't
Yeah,
understand."
yeah, I'm sure you've seen this stuff in the comics. What is wrong with you? Oh, hi. I love Madison in the show too. Just she was great.
I
But
hate
yeah,
Madison so much.
you hate Madison. What? I thought she was
I hate
funny.
Madison.
Oh,
She was annoying to me, which is why I like the end credit scene a little bit better. I'm like, you're probably not as drunk, so I'm not really feeling an irritation towards you.
man, I would
And I'm
love
like,
to
of
see.
course you're from Florida.
I would love to see shorts with her and Wong. Like, I think it would just be the cutest thing.
Oh, is she wearing a snuggie?
Is she? She might be. I think she. It looks like it.
Oh, I thought she was just wearing a hoodie. Oh, I love snuggies. Snuggies are great.
Yeah. But yeah, like Madison should have been a character I absolutely hated, because that whole the Valley Girl stuff like gets on my nerves real quick. But I don't know, for some reason it kind of worked for me at the show. I don't know, and it's like she wasn't overstaying her welcome. That's the one thing I appreciated. They didn't overuse her to where she got annoying, at least in my opinion. So I don't know. Agree to disagree. Okay, and then we have her Jen's best friend. What's her name? Shit. Uh
Nikki.
Nikki. Yes, Nikki. I thought she was really
Nikki.
good as well. Yeah, for keep forgetting. She was really good. I do like the friendship dynamic that she has with Jen in the show. You actually feel like they're BFFs, and she's there for her and stuff like that. And as I said, it like she gets a good amount of stuff to do. She's not just the token best friend. She actually helps out in the plot, which I really appreciate. Um, I'll say I didn't care too much about the other male lawyers. I guess they were trying to give them some story
No,
arcs in
Pug
the
is
show. I
amazing.
didn't give a crap about Pug. Who cares about Pug? Like, come on, I don't even
I
remember
do.
what.
He's a ball of sunshine.
You know what? I mean, hey, if y'all like some Pug, there's some Pug for you. I mean, he did help
In the
out.
comics, he does have a crush on Jennifer Walters slash She-Hulk. I guess they didn't really do much with that until the ending, where he was like, "Wait, are you two a thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, you look kind of disappointed. Sorry, bro."
Hmm. How disappointing. I didn't even know he was a character from the comics either. So this is another. He just felt like an extra to me. But I know, to each his own. Um, Another character I really liked, Amelia. Man, she was really good too.
Mallory,
What? Mallory? Why does it say Amelia on here? Okay,
her character name,
Mallory.
Mallory.
Oh, oh, okay, okay. So I'm sorry, guys. I'm starting to keep up with all these characters, but she was good. She was really good too. She was the no nonsense lawyer. Um, like at first, it looked like there was possibly going to be a rivalry between her and Jen, but then like they slowly end up, respecting each other and end up liking each other. Um, I like how she's like the most serious out of everyone there. Like everyone's like, being all jokey and stuff like that, but she's like no nonsense. So it's like it really helped to like balance stuff out when it comes to the chemistry between characters. So thought she was very good. I have a feeling we might see her again.
I'm very
Um,
surprised nobody talked about her race change,
oh, she was
since that's usually what people complain about.
oh, was she
She
white
was a
in the
redhead in
comics?
the comics.
Oh, why does that keep happening?
Yeah.
Like redheads being replaced by black women. They do that a lot. I mean, as a black
Oh, she
person,
wasn't
that
the
might not.
only one. There was a few people in that She-Hulk show.
Oh, really?
Uh,
Yeah, that.
Tatiana Maslany, not Tatiana Maslany, Titania. She's white and redhead in the comics, and she's played by Jamila Jamil, who is oh shoot, I forgot. It's she's not Indian. I believe she's like was it Middle Eastern, something like that. I don't remember specifically, but she was also changed.
Hmm. I feel like there it probably wasn't as much of an uproar because people aren't as aware about the She-Hulk comic stuff. But even I haven't heard what the diehards had to say about the race changes in the show. But
Oh, they're
did
completely
you?
ignoring it.
Oh, they're completely
And
ignoring it. Okay,
yes,
interesting.
yeah, I don't know what they're more worried about her twerking.
Oh man, look! I don't care what people say. I thought the twerking was hilarious. I thought it was funny. I actually forgot to pull up a still of
Apparently, a
that.
lot of
Yeah, a lot of people were just like, "Oh my God, she's twerking! How dare she? Why are they doing this? They're ruining her character." I thought it was funny, absolutely hilarious. Twerking with Meg the Stallion, like that had me laughing, man. I don't know what people's problem is. Like, you guys laugh at much less in the MCU,
the clip made it
and it's like,
funnier.
yeah. So it's like there's so much more ridiculous stuff in the MCU that you guys laugh at, but this is the breaking point for you. She-Hulk twerking. Come on, guys. Come on, y'all. Seriously. But yeah, as I was saying, like yeah, it's just very strange that they keep replacing redheaded or ginger actresses with black actresses. Little Mermaid. But It's kind of weird. It's like they're trying to make a mass
There is a
extinction of.
reason for that.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I'm just more concerned about how the movie is going to be as a whole. Is it going to be well written? That's my issue with that.
No, I mean, I know somebody who was in the TV industry.
Say it again. Can you say it one more time? You broke up again.
Okay, that should be better. What happened?
Can you say that one more time because you broke up.
Oh yeah, I was like, there's like one Wi-Fi that's better for like streaming, so I had to switch to that.
Okay.
I do know somebody who has been in the gaming industry, the TV industry, the movie industry. Has done writing for some of that stuff as well, and then she was a journalist for that. She used to be in G4 a long, long time ago. She's not old.
God.
She's only in her
Okay.
30s. So I did ask her. I asked her, I'm like, hey, so since you've been in the industry, why have, like, I've seen gingers being replaced by, like, black people, but only specifically black people. Why is that? And she was like, okay, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. Are you ready? It's because of slavery. Like, and to like a quote unquote make up, they're gonna like replace mostly minority characters with other minority characters, that kind of gist. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so they just want to focus more on the black people. And she's like, yeah, it's just honestly that, if I'm being honest. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. Weird
I mean,
answer, but I'm glad I got an honest one.
as a black man, I appreciate what they're trying to do to make up for slavery. I guess if that's what the reason they're giving.
There's
Um,
your reparations.
yeah, and but it's like here's the thing. Like I'll say with race changes, as long as it's not important to the character for them to be a certain race, then it's fine. But there comes a thin line where it where it either feels like it is organic and natural to the story that they're telling, or it feels like tokenism. You know, and I just hope they don't cross that line too much. You know, and it's like if you're trying to make more black characters prominent in Hollywood and stuff like that, then why don't you actually establish black characters that already exist? You know,
That's too easy.
what do you?
Because
And
white people got to make their own movies, and then so they just replace the white characters, man. Easy.
don't you? Is that a bad thing that it's easy? Like,
Apparently, to them, to us, it's like, I don't. What's the big deal? But to probably Hollywood, it is a super big deal.
just the thing. It's like instead of making Ariel black in the Little Mermaid, why don't you do a Princess and the Frog movie or something like that?
There is a
It,
Princess and the Frog movie.
live action. If they want to do live action,
Oh, well, the thing is, like, for Princess and the Frog and for Soul, they didn't do better because both of those characters were originally in the storyboard supposed to be white. Adding them to be black was something they changed on the spot at the very last moment.
okay. Well, that's good. But it's like as I said, like those still end up being original characters for
I
their
just
for
find it
their
weird
property. You know,
because, like, for Soul, he's black and he
yeah.
plays jazz. But when they made the character white, he didn't play jazz. He was just a punk rocker. And I'm like, oh, why not keep him a punk rocker, but black? We need more of that.
Yes, there are some punk rock black black people that I know of, so they do exist. So that would have been interesting. Though I did
And
like that they kept the jazz type stuff. I thought that
I
was
have to see Soul because I love jazz so much.
it's great. It's a great movie.
Ouch.
Uh, but anyway, that's enough of that tirade about race swapping. Um, Tim Roth back as Abomination. Um, I thought, or Emil Blonsky mostly. I thought he was good too. Definitely a 180 from how we last saw him in the Incredible Hulk, where he was all serious and trying to hunt down the Hulk and stuff like that, and become the best soldier or whatever. I like that this is a more laid, chilled back, Emil Blonsky. He goes through more of an arc. He goes through a different arc in this show. Um, and I did like we still got to see Abomination in a few moments in the show as well. I personally wish he had a little bit more to do as Abomination, because he's actually like he actually looks more like how he does in the comics and stuff like that. And it's like he would have had some really cool fight sequences if they could have utilized them. But it's not in the budget, not in the budget. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. How'd you feel about Emil Blonsky, aka Abomination?
I was surprised they were going to be doing like a reformed villain type of thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So he's kind of like learning the errors of his ways, and then he's teaching other like really old villains from the comics the same thing. I found that pretty cool. And then apparently at the very ending, you're like, well, he didn't really change so much because he's willing to change just to fight and do all that stuff with Wong. So
Hmm.
he's not fully there yet since he's willing to change willy nilly, which I did like. I'm surprised that his character was ruined because he's no longer a villain. And I'm like,
Yeah,
there has been some comics where he stopped being a villain. Mostly when Hulk is the villain a lot.
right. Which is why World War Hulk, please. But yeah, it's like I can't even consider him a villain anymore. Like he feels more like an anti-hero at this point. Um, I was hoping he would be in the Thunderbolts, but apparently that's probably not going to be the case. I thought he would have been a cool addition. However, probably would have been very lopsided because he's going to be the only super powered being on that team. Everyone else is just like regular people with enhanced suits and gadgets or whatever. So that probably would have felt weird. But yeah, I'm interested to see where he goes next in the MCU. I want to see what's he doing with Wong. Like, why does Wong keep taking him to places? What are they doing? I want to know that. Um, Speaking of Wong, man, somebody needs to get Wong a chiropractor because he is just carrying Phase 4, isn't he? He's just carrying it on his back. He's everywhere in Phase 4, and like he was once again excellent in this show. He was actually a little bit more funnier. He was funnier in this show too, but like he still kept his like dry like delivery and whatever. But it's like they found a way to like make it witty at the same time. When he's uh interacting with Jen and everyone. It's like just his dry delivery somehow made it. They somehow made it funnier in this show. And of course, as I said, I like um, the scenes with him and Madison. I thought it was funny as well. But what I did like was that as we see Jen becoming the superhero attorney person, actually seeing her help Wong with with legal stuff, I thought was actually interesting. I actually thought the attorney stuff in this show was actually very interesting to watch. And that was something I thought I probably was going to be bored with. I'd be like, okay, enough of the attorney stuff. Can we just go to She-Hulk smashing stuff? But it's like they actually made the legal stuff and the court stuff interesting to watch. So I definitely really appreciated that. Um, but yeah, you have any thoughts on Wong and stuff like that?
Wong was freaking fantastic. It's
Yes.
always a delight to see Wong.
Mm-hmm.
Wongers.
Go ahead. I was just
Nope,
agreeing with
that's
you.
it.
Oh, that's
Wongers. What
it.
Madison called them.
Yeah. Yep. And then I guess I'll mention a little bit about Luke, the 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 person that makes She-Hulk's suit. I thought, yeah, he was funny too. I really like the banter that he has with Jen and everyone. Like, I love how, how snappy he is, and like how narcissistic that he is, because he makes the best suits for the superheroes and stuff like that. So it's like, I thought this stuff was funny. Um, and then there. No, that's all. Yeah, that's all I got really got to say about. Yeah, he's funny. I'm trying to be like, what I want to mention that. Yeah, okay. Let's get to the person that people actually wanted to hear us talk about, Daredevil. Of course, he was great in this show. What did you expect me to say? Yes, he was so good. This is the thing that everyone was waiting. Most people were waiting for in this show. It's like, where's Daredevil? When's he gonna show up? When's Daredevil gonna show up? When's Daredevil gonna show up? And I knew they were probably gonna wait to show him the last two episodes, because that's what they do with these shows. I'm surprised people aren't catching on to the pattern here. Like, they always save the really good stuff for the last 2 or 3 episodes, and that was something that really frustrated me watching all these shows. Like, there either is a lot of filler in the beginning, and then they get to the really exciting stuff with the finale, or they start off really, really exciting, and then the ending just kind of becomes a mess. So it's like, I knew from the beginning they're probably going to wait till the last 2 episodes, and like everyone's just eager to be like, oh, he's going to come in episode 4, he's going to come in episode 5, he's going to come in episode 6. I'm like, guys, come on, y'all. You really think they're going to put him that early? Because
I blame the scooper. It wasn't a scooper. I blame the article I read. They said he was going to be in the last 4 episodes. So I'm like, oh, okay, so he's going to be in like episode 4, episode 5. They're like, nope, in the last 2. And I'm like, I was lied to.
Right, because I'm sure they knew in the back of their minds, if we put Daredevil in like the middle of the show, I'm sure people will start to fall off after that. you know, because like, when going back to how poor the marketing was, like, there wasn't really anything else that really drew anyone to the show outside the fact that, oh, Daredevil is returning. They didn't really do a good job to show like, oh, what else is there to be excited about in the show? And it's like, I'll even say, like, there's even a couple of episodes where it's like, it felt like filler, and not a lot was happening. So all that people were talking about was, when's Daredevil going to show up? Like, for example, the wedding episode. That didn't need to be there.
Apparently, it's a thing in the MCU to have a random wedding episode. Apparently,
like,
that was the joke, but I've only Miss Marvel had a wedding episode.
Yeah, which
Moon
was
Knight,
much better.
I don't think had a wedding episode.
No, it didn't.
So it's like, I only knew Miss Marvel, and I'm like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, though the wedding episode of Miss Marvel was a lot better than this.
It was still fun.
It was very fun. And it's like, I said, I don't have a problem with them doing a wedding episode, but it's just like, there wasn't really anything. There wasn't really much that happened in that episode, and I'm not saying that it needs to build to something bigger, but it's just like, there wasn't really anything to take away from that episode. Like, if you cut that episode out completely, like, nothing really would have changed.
Well, I think the opposite, because that's when we first got introduced to Josh, and that's when he took her blood afterwards.
Okay, that's the one thing that's important. That's honestly, they could have put in any of the other episodes. But it's like, did we need a full-on wedding episode? And then once again, going back, because Titania returns in that episode too, and once again she's turned into a joke, where she get her teeth messed up and whatever, which I guess was kind of funny, but it's just like,
I felt kind of bad.
Yeah, I was like, it barely was a fight in the first place, and then out of nowhere she gets her teeth broken, and bye, she's gone. I'm like, what? Okay. It's just felt so random. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Um, but yeah. So going back to Matt Murdock as Daredevil. Um, so I recently rewatched the first season of the Netflix show before going into this, so I can have a little bit of comparison of how the MCU will handle his character. And as someone who absolutely loves the Netflix Daredevil show, I don't have any problems with this version. I don't. I thought they kept they kept the essence and the spirit of what Charlie Cox's Daredevil was. He still felt the same to me. Yeah, he was a little bit more witty in this, but like it's not like he didn't tell any jokes in the Netflix show. He still was witty in that too. So for people complaining that he's much more jokey now, they didn't like the line of him saying, "Oh, consider my ass not beaten," or what? Like y'all really complaining about that stuff? Like Daredevil's a witty character. And yeah, he has serious moments, but it's like he's not Batman. Like y'all need to chill out with that. Um, like seriously. And then people complaining, oh, he's flipping around too much. It's reminding me of the bad CGI from the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck. I'm like, really, guys? Come on.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I hear people to say. It's like, oh, he's flipping around too much. Like it's too unrealistic. Like the Ben Affleck one. I'm like, no, 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 no. Cause see, in the Ben Affleck one, he was jumping off of rooftops, like 10-story rooftops, like he's Spider Man, and like he had no injuries whatsoever. Like that stuff didn't happen in this show. He's not like he's no 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 no. It's definitely not as bad as that. And then it's like, um, and then people complain that it's like, oh, he couldn't put much of a fight against She Hulk, man. Well, yeah, because she's a Hulk.
All she had to do was clap.
Yeah,
And
you
that hurt his ears so bad and sent him flying
yeah,
because
you
he was too she couldn't catch him. It was
right.
difficult, so she has to do something to stop him.
Yeah, I thought it was very clever how they dealt with that. How would he actually, get into a confrontation with She-Hulk? I thought it made sense. And it's like y'all expecting Daredevil to pick a fight with She-Hulk. Yeah, right. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Like, I don't care how comic booky this show is. Like, no, like, there's no way that was gonna happen. But it's like they don't treat Daredevil as a joke. Like for the most part, Daredevil's coming in and being like, She-Hulk, you're a rookie. Like all you do is smash things. You're being reckless. You need to follow my lead." So for those of you thinking that, oh, women overpowering the men and blah 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 blah, that definitely was not it at all. Like Daredevil did his thing in his episode. So I really don't know what people are complaining about. And I also really like his yellow and red suit. I thought he looked awesome. It's
I
probably the
kind of
only.
wanted it to be a little bit brighter for the
You want
yellow
it to be
part.
brighter?
Brighter, a little bit.
Wow, you're the first person to actually say that. But I'm glad. I personally glad it wasn't too bright. Because I thought it would have
Just a
looked.
tiny bit, a tiny bit, a tiny bit,
But
a
that
little bit.
that yellow was glistening though already. Like you want to be brighter than that, especially you
Yeah, it
saw.
was too dark to me.
I mean, okay. I mean, to each his own. To each his own. Um, and then people were mad that She-Hulk hooked up with him at the end. I'm like, I mean, I kind of expected that to happen, to be honest.
Which they've also have in the comics too.
Yeah, if you comic fans, you know, yeah, you should be shocked with how many people she hooked up with. But I actually like though that we actually saw some chemistry with Jen and Matt before that happened. So they actually established some chemistry before they hooked up. It wasn't just out of the blue. They actually built a friendship in that, and a little bit more of a friendship in that episode. So that's why it didn't bother me as much. It's fine.
I
And
know.
then
I was really worried about it.
yeah, and it absolutely killed me when he did the walk of shame after that.
And that day I learned what the walk of shame was.
Oh, you didn't know what it was up to that point?
No, everybody thought, lots of people thought I was like trolling or messing around. I'm like, no, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry.
Well, now you know. Now you know.
I thought it was a bad thing. Well, apparently originally it was,
Yeah.
but I was like, but he's happy. How could he feel shame?
Yeah. And then people were like, "Oh, that's so goofy. You would put Daredevil in that situation." Like, guys, chill out, chill out. And first of all, it's not like he had anything else to change it. He had his yellow and red outfit. That's all he had. So of course he has to walk outside in his costume. Now it was a little goofy that he was holding onto his boots and he's walking around barefoot. That was kind of silly. But like, I still thought that was funny. It didn't ruin his character. And like I said, this is coming from someone who adores the Netflix Daredevil shows. Like I think that's the peak of MCU storytelling. But I don't have a problem with this. I enjoyed what they did with him in this show, and it kind of gives me a little bit more confidence in his show that he's gonna get with Born Again. It gives me a little bit more confidence that they'll treat the character right. Now, I still believe that if I don't think it will ever reach the heights of the Netflix show. I don't think we'll ever get to that quality ever again. But at least I think it'll be I think it'll be in good hands at the very least. Um
The writers for the Daredevil Netflix show were also happy. They put a statement out on Twitter saying like this is very much like very similar to the Daredevil in their own show, and they were very happy about it.
that's good. That's good. I also am hearing that he'll probably go through another costume change where he'll possibly wear the black and red suit. So I'm interested to see how that's going to look. But yeah, two thumbs up with Daredevil. Absolutely loved him. Definitely was a highlight. His episode was probably the best episode of the entire show.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine was the episode 7.
which one was that again?
That was when she goes to Iblonsky's retreat.
Oh yeah, I did like that one. That one. I mean, I did appreciate that. I did like these guys too. They were entertaining to watch. Man Bull and Porcupine and the person that thinks he's a
El
vampire.
Aguilar. Aguilar.
Yeah, I did like them, and like it did. I did what I appreciated about that episode was they were it was adding to the development for Jen of her accepting herself as Jen and as She-Hulk,
Which
balancing.
is the reason why I liked this episode so much, because I think the only comic that tried to do something like that was like Dan Slott's version, but it was only for like a gig. And then something happened and she couldn't change it to She-Hulk anymore, and she just missed being a superhero. And I'm like, okay, but I kind of like, I want more Jen, like, like I want that closure that being Jen is okay. Which
Yeah.
is why I remember being so confused when she was as She-Hulk, and she was dating that guy, and they did it and he was super confused, and then he left her. I was like, what the heck? And then I remember in literally the first chapter of that comic book, she's dating a male model, and she accidentally like wakes up as Jen, and she's like, shoot, I have to change immediately before he finds out like what I actually look like. And I'm like, oh, so this is the reason why you do it. Well, that kind of sucks. That's like putting Jennifer down. And so having this episode where she actually gets closure with Jennifer and She-Hulk just made me really happy, and it's what I wanted in the show. It actually made me cry.
Oh, yeah, it was a really sweet episode. I definitely agree with that. Let's see. Okay. So I wanted to save this for I wanted to save this for last. I want to get into Bruce. I want to talk a little bit more about Bruce. So, as I said earlier, I just felt like Hulk has gone through a downward spiral ever since Age of Ultron. Well, after Age of Ultron, actually, because that Age of Ultron was the last time I thought Hulk was actually like at its peak. But even though I did like Hulk in Thor Ragnarok, I actually liked that they gave Hulk more of a personality in that. But it really started to become a problem when we got to Infinity War, when they were advertising that he was going to have more of a role in the movie, and then the advertising lied to us, and then he just he just got nerfed within the first 20 minutes of Infinity War. I'm just like, what is going on right now? And then Avengers Endgame, he becomes Professor Hulk, and pretty much becomes an afterthought ever since.
No
Um,
rematch with Thanos. Oh.
nope, nope, and we still have yet to see Hulk, like the true Hulk, in the MCU. Like I,
I doubt you're gonna get him now that he's Smart Hulk. There shouldn't be any reason why he should just revert to the regular Hulk and Bruce Banner as separate personalities instead of conjointed. Is that the right word? Conjointed? Combined?
I mean, yeah, that was good. And but there's the problem. There's the problem. Like, because I'm starting to see elements from some of Hulk's best runs in the comics. They just shoehorn in to these shows and movies, and it's really frustrating me because, like, Thor Ragnarok, they pretty much just threw in elements from Planet Hulk, not
Mm-hmm.
fully going into detail. And now, like, he's Professor Hulk is the one training She Hulk, which, I mean, you know what? Like, I didn't hate that. Like, I get why, I get it. Like, Professor Hulk would probably be the best thing for her to learn how to train as She Hulk, which I guess is fine, but it's just like, once again, like, just Professor Hulk, I'm just not digging at all. And then
The Russo brothers did make a statement on that.
what did they say? What did they say?
So the reason he hasn't done much throughout the entire movies, starting with the first Avengers, the reason they nerfed him was because he was too strong. They're like, well, if he starts fighting everybody, he's just gonna, TKO them. We can't have that. So we have to, you have him do something or, get something or whatever, which is why he left in Age of Ultron.
Okay, all right, yeah, I think I remember them saying that, and like, and
And I was
I
like, then why add the character? Honestly, aren't you guys writers? Shouldn't you incorporate something so that he can have a struggle while everybody else is like, okay? I don't know.
Elaine, yeah, like, I don't take that as an excuse anymore, because, like, the shit that you did with Scarlet Witch alone, you should do something on that same level with the Hulk. Like, there are so many other ways you could have incorporated him better than just not addressing it at all. You know? Like, I just I just don't know. It's like they wrote themselves into a corner. Like, there could have been there could have been more interesting ways of them to utilize the Hulk, and without it seeming like he's too powerful. You know, um, like, he could have came back at the ending fight in Wakanda in Infinity War. He could have came back like at the last ditch moment to to fight Thanos before Iron Man, use the gauntlet for himself. Like, there's so many ways they could have done it. We could have built up Planet Hulk properly, and we possibly could have made him an antagonist for the Avengers in a World War Hulk scenario. That would have that would have been amazing. Everyone would be lining up to see that. Avengers World War Hulk, like billions of dollars instantly. But no. What do we get? We get this shit. That's Scar, his son. Like, what is that? What the hell is that? Like, no, 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 no. I want this. That's the Scar that I want. What is the what is that? Oh my god! It was at that point where it's like, oh, they don't give a shit about the whole character, do they? Nope.
Maybe he'll have him grow his hair out.
That was yeah. Look at that haircut. Look at that. What
I
the fuck
was
is
just
that?
like, because of the outfit he's wearing, I'm like, okay, this seems like some sort of warrior stuff. So I'm like, maybe they're doing the hairstyle that I would see in some like freaking kung fu movies where they shave like half of their head, but there's still ends of the hair like around the back area.
That's just. I mean, yeah, I get that. Like I've seen that, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and stuff like that. So
I
yeah,
still
but
have to see that.
you haven't seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Not yet.
It's a one of the best martial arts films ever made. Um, but I I'm just looking at what they're doing with Hulk, and it's just like I don't think we're ever going to get to the greatness of Hulk ever again. I think
No, not until they get the rights to get to fully do what they need to do,
so. You
or at
think
least a good writer.
I mean, yeah, at least get a good writer. At least, like, you don't have to wait for Universal to give you the full rights to do something good with the Hulk. Like, and it's like it's so sad because the leader, you know, one of Hulk's biggest villains, is about to be a villain in a Captain America movie. Now, I'm happy that they're bringing back Tim Blake Nelson to play him, but it's just like I wish he could have been, and like technically he could be an Avengers villain. He's not. He can be for just more than the Hulk. But it's just like it's just sad that like they're using bits and pieces of Hulk in whatever story they want instead of just fully doing a Hulk project. You know. So it's just
Which
I
is
don't.
why they did She-Hulk, probably.
And it's like I don't have a problem with them doing She-Hulk either. But once again, it feels like they're holding them back. You know, I'm just tired of them putting the shackles on the Hulk mythos, That's what it feels like. And it's like it almost feels like they're in a Superman complex where it's like they're afraid to do anything with him or anything to do with the Hulk because he's so powerful. Like, man, I'm just really frustrated about that. So, ah, hashtag not my Hulk. But yeah, I think we covered almost everything. I think the only other thing I want to talk about is I did like in the first half of the show that they were doing like these short mid credit scenes. They weren't really like building to a bunch of other things. They were just like comedic bits here and there. I actually like that. I wish they
Just
kept
fun.
yeah, it was fun. I wish they kept doing that throughout the episodes. They kind of stopped halfway through. I'm like, no, to keep doing them. Like, I know like there's certain episodes that are more serious than others, so it would be kind of weird for them to put like a comedic credit scene afterwards. But like maybe you could have a couple of them that like kind of like teases what the next episode's gonna do, or like build some tension here and there. Kind of like how they did with WandaVision and stuff like that. So
So what
think
you're saying is we need Sam Raimi.
yes, we do need Sam Raimi. Even though I want him to concentrate more on Doctor Strange, I hope they bring him back to. I would love for him to direct Doctor Strange 3. But I know like Multiverse of Madness was very mixed for people, so I don't know how they feel about Sam Raimi at this point. But it's like, hey, I like when Sam Raimi does his Sam Raimi thing. Um, but yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything. Is there anything else you wanna mention before we start wrapping things up?
Let's see. Let me think. That wasn't sarcasm, by the way.
There you go.
I think we did a lot of it. I will say that a lot of people who were watching the show, I've seen them write was that how come there's there's the guys are always the bad guy, whether they're villains or because of their commentary on women and all that stuff, and that it's only guys. How come they don't do the girls? That's pretty sexist. And I'm like, well, if you don't think there have been women antagonists or women insulting Jen in some sort of way, then you didn't really watch the show. We
Oh
had
yeah.
Mallory, who was like that for the first few episodes. We have Titania, who was like that throughout. And then we also have Jen's family members, the female ones specifically, who are always judging her for everything.
hmm Yeah, like everyone was shitting on Jen the entire show, like men and women. Like they were all giving her crap. So I don't want to hear this whole thing of oh the men are like picking on her and that's it and oh she's being harassed in the show and okay, so I guess another thing that I guess I should mention, like, okay, there was a couple of scenes where like guys were hitting on her and like she didn't want to bother with them and like they were a little bit annoying there, but it's like it wasn't like a big thing. It was just one little scene and then they moved on. I only remember them doing that twice. And then like the one time where she got assaulted well, and that's not even assaulted because like she ended up kicking everyone's ass. But like the one time that she was attacked by the wrecking crew, like she was fine. She turned the She-Hulk and kicked all their asses. So it's like I don't want to hear this whole thing of oh the men are bad in this show and blah blah blah. Like no, no, it's not. It's not like that at all. Like and this has come from someone that like you know that's very that notices like when they're trying to do like wokeness and agendas in shows like this wasn't bad like it was whatever it was fine um honestly I will still watch this over Captain Marvel any day if y'all want to talk about like
I find
yeah.
it very funny how like that first episode was like got people very angry from how she spoke as her experience as a woman. But that first episode was actually supposed to be the eighth episode. But they were like, oh well, everybody wants an origin story first, so they just switched them. And I'm like, I think you should have just kept it the way it was, like at the eighth episode, because if you have stuff building up to her origin story of how everything happened, you can finally understand of why she like feels that way and why she always feels like threatened, because you would already have the evidence. You wouldn't have the evidence later, you would already have the evidence and then hear her talk about it.
That would have been an interesting experiment, putting the origin at the later half of the show.
Oh, and
Um,
then her relationship with her dad, where she doesn't really have a mom in the comics. I think she's dead. So they added a mom here, but they kept the beautiful relationship she has with her father, and I love it so much. That made me super happy.
hmm Yeah, I definitely did like the relationship that she had with her father. It was nice, very nice. Um, but yeah. Oh, going back to the Wrecking Crew real quick. I wish they did more with the Wrecking Crew because they
Yes.
were like an opposing force in the comics. Like they were just a joke. They were still in like Asgardian construction stuff, and they were using that against her. And it's like, okay, wow. I did like that one of them like turned good and like ended up staying at the retreat with Emil Blonsky and the um other guys. I did like that he went through an arc there, so that was cool. Um but yeah, that's pretty much it for She-Hulk. Overall, I guess I'll put this under the category of guilty pleasure. Um
I would
I
agree.
yeah, I had a good time watching this show. I had some laughs. There was some nice character interactions. I liked I like Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters slash She-Hulk. She's very entertaining to watch, and I would love to see her in a season two. And I will be very excited for if and when she shows up in a movie, Avengers film or whatever crossover they want to put her in. I think she should be in they should push her to the movies real quick. Though I know the show wasn't really doing her enough favors to where people would be like, excited enough for her to show up in movies. But like, I definitely want to see her. Uh, she's she's slowly starting to become one of my favorite characters in Phase Four right now. But yeah, I like the fourth wall breaking. I wish they went a little bit more crazy with that. Like they could have borderline went Deadpool levels. Well, not be as violent or as crude, but like just as far as like the antics and the slurs, they could have went farther with that. And I wish there was more of a balance between her as an attorney and her actually fighting crime as She-Hulk. I like both aspects, but I felt like there wasn't enough equally seeing her as an attorney and seeing her as a superhero. So I wish there was a little bit more balance with that. I wish they gave her more to do story wise because there are a couple of episodes where it felt like she didn't have much to do or the writers didn't know what to do with her. Um, I know. I just wish there was a little bit more substance with this show. Like if like this show stayed on the level of the first two episodes and the last two episodes, it would have been, or I would say that the first three episodes and the last two episodes, if they kept that energy, this would have been, this possibly could have been the best Marvel show they put out. And there were a couple moments where I was thinking, you know what, this might end up being my favorite, but they kind of fell flat in their face. Well, not completely fell flat in their face, but they kind of missed the mark in a few places by the time we got to the finale. Doing fourth wall breaks or being self-aware just for the sake of being self-aware, not actually helping to enhance the story or make the story better. Like I said, if you're going to acknowledge your bad writing, you gotta make the writing better after that. Does it make the writing better when you acknowledge that it's bad and don't do anything else with it? And that's another problem I have with the show. But like I said, I
I
had
would say the special guests also can kind of ruin the show as well. Like she says, like multiple times, don't forget who show this is. But like there's people wondering why there's so many special guests. In John Byrne's comic, there would always be such special guests in her comic. In her comics, all around, like she's known for having special guests on there. And I'm like, okay, so I feel like it was a little bit maybe too much in the actual series, and like we should have at least toned it down a little bit.
yeah, I see why you say that. And like I feel like it feels that way because as I said, it feels like they're not giving Jen enough to do in her own show, you know. So like the cameos and the special appearances, they almost feel like they overshadow her, even though she's a very interesting character and she goes through good character development in this. Like it like I said, it just felt like the writers at times didn't know what to do with her. So I feel like the cameos and appearances could have worked if they made her a little bit more front center, you know. Um, but anyway, that's how I personally feel. So overall, I will say that She-Hulk is probably a B minus, 7 out of 10, pretty good. What would you give it, Bianca?
I will also give it a B minus. It's a very B show.
Yes, yes, it is. Um, but yeah, that is our thoughts on She-Hulk Attorney at Law. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment your thoughts down below and let us know. Thank you guys for tuning into this live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. If you did, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. If you want to, be notified on future videos I'll be doing, don't forget to hit that bell while you're at it. Is there anything you want to plug, Bianca?
All right, so my name is Myself in Comics. I usually just do a lot of indies. I support independent comic books. I usually make videos on them. During this entire thing, I was getting ready for my next video coming out Sunday. And I just did an interview with an indie comic creator with his link in the description for his Indiegogo. I also do interviews when I have energy. But that's mostly my thing. I just reached 200 subscribers, so I'm planning on to do a live in celebration of that. Hopefully this week.
Awesome. Yeah, so please subscribe to our channel, Myself in Comics. Um, so yeah, the next Marvel project I think is coming out is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Yay!
Yeah. So tune in for that when we discuss about it. Um, but that's all we have for you, Marvel fans, and we will see. Oh, also, I think now that we have now that I caught up with the Marvel shows, I think I'm going to do a tier ranking of all the Marvel shows. I'm probably going to
Ooh.
do that sometime next week. You're welcome to join on that too if you'd like. But yeah, that's probably gonna try and do sometime next week. Um, but yeah, so that's the stuff Marvel related that we'll be covering. I'll do the tier ranking for the Marvel shows, and then the next thing we'll talk about project wise is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Oh, I hope it's great. I hope it's great, man. I'm
We all
really
do.
really worried about it. I I still wish they recasted T'Challa. I feel like that's really going to hurt the film, but like I know that Ryan Coogler's going to do his best to make a great movie, regardless of not having T'Challa or Chadwick Boseman there. But yeah, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But that's all we have for you Marvel fans, and we will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Captain America, fuck!